Pat Boone was born Charles Eugene Boone on June 1, 1934, in Jacksonville, Florida, but it was Nashville, Tennessee, that truly shaped the man he would become. Raised in a home grounded in Christian faith, discipline, and traditional Southern values, Boone grew up with a strong sense of purpose and moral direction. Music was always present, but so was education, and Boone took both seriously. He attended David Lipscomb College and later graduated from Columbia University with a degree in speech and English, an academic foundation that refined his articulate delivery and calm public presence. From the start, Boone stood out not as a rebel, but as a reassuring figure during a time of cultural upheaval. His clean-cut appearance and polite demeanor were not marketing tricks, but extensions of his upbringing. Long before fame arrived, Boone understood who he was and what he stood for, and that clarity would define his entire career. Rising to fame in the birth of rock and roll, the 1950s were a turning point in American music, and Pat Boone emerged as one of its most recognizable figures. As rock and roll shook social norms, Boone offered a smoother, more polished sound that appealed to mainstream audiences uneasy with the genre's rebellious edge. He found early success recording covers of rhythm and blues songs, helping introduce these musical styles to broader audiences. While this approach later sparked debate, Boone's intentions were rooted in admiration for the music itself. Songs like Ain't That a Shame and I Almost Lost My Mind climbed the charts, and Boone quickly became a household name. By the end of the decade, he had scored dozens of top 40 hits and rivaled even Elvis Presley in chart consistency. Boone's popularity wasn't accidental. It was built on accessibility, reliability, and a voice that conveyed warmth rather than provocation. Television, film, and the wholesome star persona. As his music career soared, Pat Boone expanded effortlessly into television and film, becoming one of the most visible entertainers of his era. His variety show, The Pat Boone Chevy Showroom, ran from 1957 to 1960 and showcased both established stars and emerging talent, reinforcing his reputation as a unifying presence in entertainment. Hollywood soon followed, casting Boone in a series of youth-oriented films like April Love, Bernardine, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. These roles mirrored his public image: romantic, respectful, and dependable. Boone was selective about his projects, often declining roles that conflicted with his values. While this limited certain opportunities, it also strengthened his identity. At a time when many stars chased reinvention, Boone remained consistent, becoming a symbol of stability during a rapidly changing cultural landscape. Faith, family, and an unshaken moral compass. Beyond entertainment, Pat Boone was deeply committed to his faith and family, which he considered his greatest achievements. He married his high school sweetheart, Shirley Foley, in 1953, and their marriage lasted an extraordinary 65 years until her passing in 2019. Together, they raised 4 daughters and built a life largely free of scandal, a rarity in show business. Boone frequently spoke about faith-based living, wrote best-selling books on morality and youth guidance, and appeared at religious events across the country. His beliefs were not performative. They guided his decisions, shaped his career, and anchored him through fame. While critics sometimes viewed his views as old-fashioned, Boone never wavered. He believed success meant little without integrity, and that conviction earned him respect even among those who disagreed with him. Reinvention and longevity. Beyond expectations. In the 1990s, Pat Boone surprised the public with a bold reinvention that proved his sense of humor and adaptability. His album, In a Metal Mood, No More. Mr. Nice Guy featured heavy metal classics performed in his signature crooner style. Though initially met with skepticism, the project became a cult favorite and introduced Boone to a younger generation. Far from mocking the genre, the album served as a playful tribute, showing that Boone understood music's evolving nature. This unexpected success reinforced a key truth about his career. Longevity came from openness, not rigidity. Across decades, Boone recorded thousands of songs, sold over 50 million records, and remained culturally present long after many peers faded. His willingness to evolve without abandoning his identity became one of his most defining strengths. The shadow and the legend of Elvis Presley. For decades, Pat Boone's name was inevitably linked to Elvis Presley, the two often portrayed as rivals representing opposing visions of rock and roll. Boone, now in his 90s, has finally spoken candidly about that relationship. He explains that the media exaggerated competition that rarely existed in reality. Boone admired Elvis deeply, recognizing early that he was more than a performer. He was a cultural force. Offstage, Boone recalls Presley as quiet, thoughtful, and intensely focused on music. While their images differed sharply, Boone insists there was no resentment. In fact, he believed Elvis expanded the industry in ways that benefited everyone. Boone now acknowledges that he initially underestimated Elvis's staying power, but quickly came to respect his unmatched emotional depth and natural charisma. Diverging paths and unspoken regrets. As Boone reflects on their different journeys, he speaks with empathy rather than judgment. While Boone remained grounded in faith and structure, Elvis faced immense pressure, isolation, and expectations few could withstand. Boone expresses sorrow over Presley's struggles and admits he often wished he could have done more. He believes Elvis was searching for peace and meaning, but was surrounded by people who prioritized fame over well-being. Boone recalls private conversations about faith, fear, and the weight of stardom, moments that revealed Elvis's vulnerability. These memories linger with Boone, not as regrets, but as reminders of how fame can magnify inner turmoil. His reflections are not about assigning blame, but about honoring a gifted man whose humanity was often overshadowed by his legend. Truth spoken late, but with compassion. Now, with the clarity that comes from age, Pat Boone speaks about Elvis not as an icon, but as a person. He describes him as generous, sensitive, and deeply misunderstood. Boone believes history often focused on Elvis's excesses while overlooking his kindness and spiritual curiosity. He wasn't just a phenomenon, Boone has said. He was a man carrying more weight than anyone should. These reflections are not revelations meant to shock, but truths shared gently, shaped by respect and time. Boone's honesty reframes their relationship as one of quiet, mutual regard rather than rivalry. In telling his truth now, Boone seeks not to rewrite history, but to humanize it, offering a fuller picture of a man who changed music forever. A legacy of integrity, music, and memory. Pat Boone's life stands as a testament to endurance, principle, and compassion. With thousands of recordings, decades of success, and an unwavering commitment to his values, Boone built a legacy that extends far beyond charts and awards. His reflections on Elvis Presley add depth to both their stories, reminding us that behind every legend is a human being navigating pressure, purpose, and vulnerability. As Boone continues to speak, perform, and reflect in his later years, he does so not to seek relevance, but to offer perspective. In honoring Elvis, Boone also reaffirms his own legacy, not just as a clean-cut star of the 1950s, but as a thoughtful witness to one of music's most transformative eras.